Ellen woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today."
Ellen tells me in the car that I have to do what I do for Jeffrey for Prince Andrew.
I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. If something happens to me, for the sake of my family, do not let this go away.
I was so young. Ellen woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be to that point. Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together."
What if someone told the world they were in danger, and then, within days, they were gone? What if key evidence, names, timelines, entire chapters, disappeared at the exact same time? And what if voices with massive platforms, like Joe Rogan, started asking questions that no one could fully answer? Because this story isn't just about one man. It's about power, silence, and the people who tried to break both.
And Ellen said, "He's coming back to the house, and I want you to do for him what you do for him."
Jeffrey Epstein tells me he owns the Palm Beach Police Department. And I can't remember when he tells me this again, but he told me, "I know where your little brother goes to school." So, I mean, like, when you talk about psychological fear, it's not like they put a gun to my head and said, "Do this or die." It was these invisible chains that I talk about that kept you complacent, kept you there. It took a lot of people involved. It took doctors, psychiatrists, gynecologists, dentists. All these people knew what was going on, hairstylists. I mean, the list goes on. I could keep going on and on and on. Drivers, chauffeurs, butlers, housemaids. It took all of these people turning a blind eye.
To understand what's happening now, you have to go back. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just a wealthy financier. He was at the center of one of the most disturbing criminal networks in modern history. Arrested in 2008 in Florida, received a highly controversial plea deal, arrested again in 2019 on federal charges, died in custody under officially ruled suicide. But his death didn't close the case. It opened it.
Virginia Giuffre, the most prominent victim of the late convicted Jeffrey Epstein, took her own life on Thursday. This is just weeks after she made headlines for saying that she had days to live after she claimed to have been hit by a bus.
I am making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me, for the sake of my family, do not let this go away. Too many evil people want to see me quieted.
Went to knock on the door around 11:15, and it was then that a housekeeper discovered his body in the room.
One of the most prominent voices speaking out was Virginia Giuffre. Her testimony wasn't vague. It was specific. She described locations, names, dates, patterns of behavior. She alleged that Epstein's operation wasn't isolated. It was structured. Before her death, Virginia Giuffre made something very clear. She publicly stated she was not suicidal. That statement matters, because when someone documents their fear, they're leaving behind a message, not just for the present, but for what comes next.
He was going through so much, and he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that, and he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone.
Around the same time, reports surfaced about missing materials tied to her work. Drafts, notes, parts of a larger story that may never be fully known. Now, this is important. There is no confirmed evidence explaining why those materials disappeared. But the timing? That's what keeps people asking questions.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must be in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being picked. I was 10. That is how long this trafficking ring has been.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan has repeatedly discussed the Epstein case, not as a conspiracy, but as a series of unresolved issues. Rogan's platform reaches millions, and when he raises questions, people listen. But even he acknowledges there are limits to what's publicly known.
I want to start by saying it's not how Jeffrey died, but it's how he lived. And we need to get to the bottom of everybody who was involved with that.
The Epstein case exposed something deeper, not just crimes, but how systems respond to them. Legal loopholes, institutional silence, delayed accountability, and perhaps most importantly, how long it took for survivors to be heard. Let's separate fact from speculation. Confirmed. Epstein ran a trafficking operation. Multiple survivors gave testimony. Investigations are ongoing. Unresolved. Full extent of the network. All individuals involved missing or unreleased materials. And that gap is where public curiosity lives. This story doesn't end with one person. And it doesn't end with one case. Because the real question isn't just what happened. It's what hasn't been revealed yet. And in a world where information can disappear, sometimes the loudest message is silence.